Space consists of many planets. Among all the planets, Mother Earth is the most beautiful. It has its own atmosphere. The atmosphere comprises of many gases. Sun being as optimum distance from the Earth provides a suitable temperature on surface of Earth. It provides habitats not only to humans and animals but also to the birds, water bodies, and vegetation adorns the surface of Mother Earth. It is the home of many beautiful creatures. Namaste children, today we are going to start Geography chapter 2 and chapter name is Land, Soil, Water, Natural Vegetation and Wildlife Resources. Today we are going to discuss land. Land is among the most important natural resources. It covers about 30% of the total area of the Earth's surface. And all parts of this small percentage are not habitable. It means humans does not exist everywhere. The rugged topography, steep slopes of the mountains, desert areas, thick forested areas are normally sparsely populated. Other side, in case we go to river valleys or we go to plains, these areas are good for agriculture and these areas are densely populated areas. Children, now we are going to talk about land use. Land is used for different purposes like mining, forestry, agriculture, transportation, building roads. This common use of all the events, like for in case we are making roads, we are making buildings for communities, and in case we are just going to go for forestry or we are going for mining, all such kind of use is commonly used termed as land use. Now the land can be divided in two parts. The first is the private land and second is community land. What is private land is it is owned by the individual. Suppose in case I am the owner of the land and I want to set up my industries. So used for establishing industries, that is called private land and owned by the individuals. The other is community land, owned by the community for common people uses. These lands can be used by the common people for the common purposes like using for collection fruit, nuts and medicinal herbs. Now what problem is ever growing the demand of the people day by day. The people, they started encroaching the common land from the common people. What they're going to do is for making commercial lands, housing complexes, they are going to encroach the land. And other side, in case we see agriculture, expansion of agriculture in rural areas. So the land of availability is different place to place, land of quality is also different place to place, and people they are going to use for the commercial purposes, making the housing complexes. So all these events and activities causes land degradation. So how we can stop this? Agriculture, expansion of agriculture and constructional activities. These are the major threats to the environment. How to stop land degradation? This is the very important question is stand in front of us. How to stop this? Now, using less pesticides, chemicals and fertilizers in agriculture, overgrazing and some more common methods can conserve the land today. Children, what is soil? Soil is uppermost layer of the earth crust. It is one of the most valuable natural resources. It is needed for the growth of the plants. Many animals such as earthworms and insects live in soil. Soil is useful in many ways to humans too. Now let's discuss soil profile. The thin layer of greenish substance covering the surface of the earth is called soil. It is closely linked to land. Land forms determine the type of soil. Soil is made of organic matter, minerals, and weathered rocks found on earth. This happens through the process of weathering. The right mix of minerals and organic matter make the soil fertile. Now let us discuss all the soil profile layers. Let us start with the first layer, that is called humus, very good for vegetation. Second is topsoil. Third is subsoil with the sand and silt and clay. And the next is weathered rock material. At last you can see parent rock. Now the next topic is conservation of soil. Deforestation, overgrazing, overuse of fertilizers, pesticides, landslides and floods are causing the loss of top fertile layer of the soil, which leads to soil erosion, hence depleting the soil. So we can say natural as well as human factors both are responsible for degradation of soil. Children, here we have methods of conservation of soil. Number 1, terrace farming. Number 2, shelter beds. Number 3, contour plowing. Number 4, intercropping. Here we go for terrace farming first.
Terrace farming is method of farming whereby steps known as terraces are built onto slopes of hills and mountains. When it rains, instead of rain carrying away the soil nutrients and plants down the slope, they flow to next terrace. Every step has an outlet which channels water to the next step. Terraced field decrease both erosion and surface runoff and may be used to support growing crops that require irrigation, such as rice.
Hope you understood terrace farming. Now we will go for shelter beds, contour plowing and intercropping. Shelter beds. What are shelter beds? They are series of trees or shrubs that are grown in the form of horizontal line adjacent to the field. A series of trees planted to grow in the edges of the field in order to protect the fields from high-speed winds. Shelter beds is a widely used method in agriculture across the world. What is contour farming or contour plowing? The contour plowing is a farming practice of plowing and or planting across a slope following its elevation contour lines. A similar practice is contour building, where stones are placed around the contours of slopes. Contour plowing helps to reduce soil erosion. What is intercropping? Intercropping is different crops are grown in alternate rows, are sown at different times to protect soil from rainwash. So children, this was all about methods of conservation of soil.